A few weeks ago I made a few videos on the iPad Pro, and in particularly video editing with the iPad Pro and how I thought they could potentially be the future of video editing because of how capable they are. They are incredibly powerful devices, and I don't think a lot of people realise just how powerful they are. Then the M1 iPad Pro came out, the brand new iPad Pro, and there was a lot of rumours that we were finally going to get the Pro range of apps, so Final Cut, Logic and some coding apps, and there was rumours that they were going to be coming to the iPad Pro, which could potentially have meant that the iPad could finally be the only device you ever need. You could do all of your work on the iPad Pro, all of your editing, literally everything. It could be your only device. And then finally, after a few months of waiting, WWDC finally came around. And if you don't know what WWDC is, it is basically Apple's big flagship event, that one of their main ones of the year, where they release new products and softwares, and they have a big developers conference, and they talk about all the new products and softwares that they have been working on and release them, or talk about them ready to be released for the future. Now, with the release of the M1 iPad Pro just before WWDC, there was a lot of talk about whether these Pro apps would finally come to the iPad, and if iPadOS will be updated so it could do more strenuous things and just be more capable of being your everyday only device. Now, I don't know about you, but I found WWDC a little bit disappointing. Because the M1 iPad Pro was released just before, I was expecting a whole load of new iPad softwares and apps to come to the iPad. However, not a lot has really changed. It's all pretty much still exactly the same. It's still iPadOS, and that is the only thing holding the iPad Pro back, which is massively frustrating, because the 2018 iPad Pro, which I mentioned I have here, you can edit videos on that using LumaFusion, and it does it incredibly well. Full 4K video, edit it on an iPad Pro 2018. My MacBook Pro sometimes struggles with that, my MacBook Pro 16-inch. The fans will be incredibly loud, it will overheat massively. The iPad Pro just copes with it incredibly easy, it doesn't even heat up. So the only thing holding the iPad Pro back, like I mentioned, is the software. There was, however, one feature that I really do like the look of. It looks really cool, and that's called Universal Control, where basically you can just control all your devices from one trackpad or one keyboard and mouse, and scroll through from your MacBook straight onto your iPad without having to connect different devices and control them all individually. You can now literally move your mouse from your MacBook onto your iPad or another MacBook. That looks incredible, and I think that will be incredibly useful. However, apart from that, nothing's really changed. No Pro apps, no Final Cut, no Logic Pro X. Now, all of this effectively means that buying the brand new, very powerful M1 iPad Pro is just a little bit pointless, which is absolutely insane because it is so powerful and so capable. You've seen what the M1 Max are capable of. That iPad Pro is capable of doing the exact same, but it can't do it because of the software limitations. So in my personal opinion, you are better off saving your money, at least for now, and getting one of the last two iPad Pros, because you can do just as much on those as you can the brand new one. Now, yes, the M1 iPad Pro is a hell of a lot more powerful than the last two iPad Pros, the 2018 and the 2020. However, without the software and without the apps, you are limited as to what it can do. You're not going to be able to utilize that full amount of power, which is why, for now at least, until maybe one day those apps do come out and the software changes to become more capable, it just seems a little bit crazy to update to the M1 iPad Pro. That's just my personal opinion anyway. And I was thinking of upgrading to the M1 iPad Pro, but I think for now at least, I'm just going to stick with my 2018 iPad Pro. I still think that genuinely it will happen one day where you can use your iPad purely for everything, whether that's all your day-to-day work, your editing, your photo editing, video creation, website building, whatever it is you want to do. One day I genuinely think we will get to that point. We are very close to it now. It is just those 1 or 2 limitations holding it back. But one day I genuinely think it will come, and when that day does come, I am genuinely thinking of switching over to just an iPad, because this is almost as powerful. This is a 2018 iPad Pro, as I keep mentioning. It is almost as powerful as the 16-inch MacBook Pro in some aspects. Not all, just some aspects. So we are getting to that point slowly. It's just those 1 or 2 things that keep holding it back. And for creators, whether you create videos, you write music, you're a producer, it doesn't matter, you do need that extra functionality. So maybe we are getting closer to the point where you can use your iPad as the only device that you need, but we've just got to wait a little bit longer for the software to catch up with the hardware of the devices. And maybe the new feature, universal control, that I mentioned before, where you can control all of your devices with the same trackpad and keyboard and mouse, maybe that is a way of Apple just learning how we interact with those devices in that sort of way. Now, yes, you can already connect your keyboard and mouse to an iPad, but using them all together, maybe that is a way of Apple trying to find out how they can try and mingle them all together to create maybe one piece of software for everything. So effectively joining up Mac OS and iPadOS. I don't know, but maybe that's what they are trying to do, and they're trying to figure out how they can do that and then have it perfect for that one big release, instead of going a bit half into it without really knowing what they're doing. Does that make sense? I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments below what you think about that. I hope that is the case anyway, because as I mentioned before, I would love to be able to use my iPad for absolutely everything. Imagine just walking around with an iPad, traveling with an iPad. That is all you need to take with you. I think that would just make everything so much easier. It's smaller, you can plug it into an external monitor if you need to, but we've just got to wait a little bit longer. It'll happen, I hope so. I really hope so. So if you are thinking of buying a new iPad Pro at the moment, me personally, I would recommend just saving a little bit of money and going for one of the 2 past iPad Pros, unless you genuinely really need one of the new M1 iPad Pros with the new incredible whatever screen it's got, XDR display, that's on the bigger M1 iPad Pro, because that does look incredible, but I'm not sure that that is enough to persuade me to get an M1 iPad Pro over one of these that I've already got. So yeah, I think just hold off the M1 iPad Pro maybe until the software catches up. That's just my personal opinion though. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click subscribe as well, and I shall see you all very soon in another video.